sponsorships and how to get more of them, because a film cannot happen without some kind of funding starting the whole process. So what we try to do when we produce a movie is to approach sponsors as quickly as we can. My producer recently was in the United States of America. She was at the American film market, and then she traveled all the way inland to Nashville, Tennessee, to another very major market, and discovered that a lot of the markets, a lot of the buyers attending these markets no longer offer. They don't offer any kind of upfront sales commitment or an upfront purchase. They don't offer that anymore. So what happens is that you are kind of left to your own devices to try to find the funding somewhere. And normally that comes from sponsorships, from people that are in alignment with your message or with your idea or with your concept, and are quite happy to get involved in the film. I'm always on the lookout for sponsors, and the way I kind of do it is I try to sort of separate the film projects that we're working on by creating production bins or production baskets. And I might have a project which is a unique science fiction film, so I'll have a project basket which enables me to, whenever I find a sponsor, an advertiser that's already committing to advertising out there, I'll either cut that out or scan it and place that in the basket. If I'm doing a romance comedy, I will then find extraordinary sponsors that already are involved with romance type products. They're either involved doing beauty therapy, or they're doing high action spa treatments, or they're doing just about anything from clothing, designer clothing for women, even for gents. Shoes, travel companies, anything to do with entertainment and leisure become the sponsors for those kinds of films. We then also have, a kids entertainment division, so we're always looking for sponsors that already get behind or involved or want to showcase more of their products and wares. The beauty of a film is that once you've got a screenplay, you can then build products around that screenplay. So you can write in concepts that don't interfere with the storytelling device. So you might have a really super concept for telling a story, which really works beautifully, and now you don't want to shake up the story because of a sponsor. Sponsors are really music in a film shouldn't sort of draw attention to itself. Music should be background, and it should increase the pace of the film. It should give you a sense of tempo and a sense of emotion, but it shouldn't attract, it shouldn't draw attention to itself, unless you're in the middle of a thematic, a theme that just runs through the film, like an Indiana Jones, sort of a march theme, which can really work for a character like Darth Vader in Star Wars. But what you really want to do with motion pictures is that you don't want your sponsors interfering or intruding on the message of the film. So you need to be, it's a very fine balance, but you need to be very watchful to ensure that when you're making this film, that the sponsors are not intruding. They're not, sort of overwhelmingly, and you don't want it to be a blatant advertisement either, but there are situations in films which lend themselves to advertising and sponsorships. We've used extraordinary companies that have assisted us on a day-to-day basis in terms of, if our characters, just in almost inevitably, especially in love stories and romance comedies, you're going to have, somebody drinking a coffee or a tea, or, you're going to have the Cafe Rendezvous. So those are the sponsors that suit that kind of film. With science fiction, you want to be looking for technologies, things that are new and up to date and very just things that you don't normally see out there, but these sponsors, these advertisers really need to showcase these products. So film is a perfect opportunity to do that in. And if you've got really good relationships with these companies, they get very involved behind you. We're always astounded by just how incredibly committed to making this happen with us our sponsors are. We've had sponsors, enable us to come on locations. They've done things like inductions. They've shown our entire team and crew what to do and how to do it. They've gone out of their way to place our crew, our film production team, into situations which they would probably not normally sort of allow anyone else to do. So anyone visiting a specific location or a locale, you get preferential treatment as a filmmaker. So always be, I guess, on the lookout for sponsorships. Sponsors are always interested in trying new things. Advertisers are always interested in trying new things. And always remember that an advertiser has as much to gain from having exposure of its products or services inside your film as you have getting a sponsor involved in your project, because you may think that you are, sponsors are just there to potentially assist you to get your project started or your storyboarding, process underway, or, a pilot part of your film. But you'll actually discover that sponsors become very useful when it comes to, premieres, test screenings, when it comes to, you need shots, you need things that visually can showcase where you're going with your project, and your sponsors are behind you, and they also give credibility to your project, because the minute your project has 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 sponsors attached to it already, and these are blue chip companies or well-known corporations, the project starts to command a certain degree of respect. It also means you've got backing. You're not just attending an event somewhere in the world, but you have a founding partner with you. You've got a sponsor that is now just completely connected with your concept and idea. And later, their mailing lists become valuable because they want to see the film that they're involved in become big. So they act as venues that you can sell your film at. The venues, even if they're global venues, they start being able to showcase posters and point of sales of your film, and you also get access to their marketing efforts. So if your film showcases their product, they're going to be wanting to showcase your movie to every one of their customers. And even if it means giving the film to their customers or giving premiere tickets to their customers, you take on value. You become very valuable to the sponsor. The relationship I've discovered goes from being at the very start or the outset, the relationship is relatively it's small in the beginning. It becomes a process of educating your customer, your client. But the more they get involved in the project and where you're going with it and what you're trying to do, the more they become, the more they adopt the project, the more they become paternalistic or maternalistic toward it, the more they want you to succeed. And then they become running partners. Yeah, and by that I mean you want to travel and you've got an airline as a sponsor. They will sponsor your flight tickets. You need to travel to markets to go and promote your movie. They will provide that. You want to travel somewhere in the world. Guess what? They'll make available cruise liners. And you can go off and shoot the footage that you need to. And what happens is you start building leverage and value. You start finding that you can attract other sponsors by virtue of the the value that you already have from the existing sponsors. So, you know, if you've got access to 20, 30, 40, 50 flight tickets, the the shipping company suddenly takes an interest because you're able to offer their subscribers or their interested customers the option of free flight tickets. Or so you can start really collaborating. You can get your sponsors together. You can get them to collaborate and work with each other. And the beauty of a sponsorship is that the real value of that sponsorship happens later. So you start the process and it's quite small. The sponsors involved, they might lend you a location. They might give you, they might give you products. They might give you a service in the area of transportation or trucks or whatever it is that you require. But later on, they become extremely valuable because your film is now potentially going global, or it's showcasing in your state or your province or wherever it is that you're filming. But your sponsor finds that all transportation to do with the film is, it's business that you bring back to the sponsor. And sponsors, go into alliance with the other sponsors. And by the way, I've had sponsors say to me, but that sponsor is a very small sponsor on the project. They're only contributing, coffee. We're contributing airline tickets. And, we're always saying to people that sponsorships are differentiated by what sponsors are paying and what their value to the project is. But sponsorships become valuable in other areas. We had a very well-known coffee sponsor who sponsored not only vouchers so that our clientele, our customers, our viewers could enjoy an espresso at their cafes, but they also provided tours, at one stage tours of their factory, tours of their training centers where their baristas were being trained. So, and that turned into, a really beautiful outing into the country. And we were able to coordinate with our Singaporean co-producers or our Chinese co-producers. We were able to coordinate the kind of relationship where they arrived here and they had an instant plug-in to all these amazing facilities and all these wonderful tours that we were making available for people. So that's it for this little blog, but I really hope you got something out of that, and we'll catch you on the next blog.